Pocket Watchers, welcome back to another video. It's your boy Adrian, and this is Always Talk Money. And today I want to talk about financial mistakes that people tend to make in their 30s. Yes, we all make mistakes, but in your 30s, it's a big time in your life. It's when you're really coming of age in terms of understanding the world. In your 20s, you're an adult, but in your 30s is when you start to understand the world. So we're going to get into it. But before we do that, please, guys, leave a like on the video. Let me know what you think in the comments as well. Participate, give me feedback, and let's get into the video. The first big financial mistake that I see a lot of people make in their 30s is buying too much house, because this is typically around when people start to buy their first homes, and buying too much house can be a big deal because sometimes you only look at the mortgage payment. It's like, okay, this is my credit score. This is what my mortgage is going to be. But a lot of times we tend to overlook simple things like HOA, property taxes, maintenance, repairs, upgrades on the homes, especially if you live in a certain neighborhood and all your neighbors' houses look a certain way. You're going to want to keep up with them. That's where keeping up with the Joneses come from. And a lot of times people want to get a nice size house that they can grow into, right? You're thinking about maybe we're going to start a family in a few years and we're going to need extra bedrooms. Oh, we're going to have family come over, so we need a guest room. We need an in-law suite. And a lot of times those things cost you so much money that it's not even worth it. Yeah, you might have guests once or twice a year. And yes, you might have children immediately, but a lot of times the juice ain't worth the squeeze. And people tend to want to give each kid their own bedroom. But when I was coming up, bunk beds were a thing. I don't know if it's so much a thing right now. It seems like if people have 3 kids, they want each kid to have their own bedroom. But be prudent when you're buying your first home in your 30s. A lot of times you can really just start with a simple 3 bedroom, because as you grow in your career, you're going to make more money. And that starter home is a perfect home to kind of flip after 5 to 10 years, get that chunk of money and put towards a down payment for the home in your 40s. But sometimes people want to go all the way to the dream home immediately, and that's a mistake. Be as frugal as possible, especially when you're buying a home, because it is a long-term commitment. When you sign those mortgage documents, you're locked in. So you don't want to be locked into a bad deal. You don't want to be house poor. You don't want to be so strapped that you have to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You don't want to be so strapped that maybe your spouse wants to stay home with the child and you can live off of one income while one parent stays home with the kid, and form those early developmental bonds, right? So set your life up financially that gives you the most flexibility, and that starts with not buying too much house. Now, preceding the house, usually people get married. You get married and then you buy your dream home, right? Well, a lot of people tend to overspend on the wedding, because again, at 30 is when you're trying to settle down, you're trying to build a legacy, start a family, etc., etc., etc. Weddings can be so expensive. The average wedding in America costs close to $30,000. That's a lot of money. And if you can avoid that, that would be a great thing financially, especially so young in your life, you're trying to start out. $30,000 can go a long way for a house down payment, for instance, or for an emergency fund that if you do have a child, one person can stay home for an extended period of time. Because I do know that in a lot of cases, the maternity and the paternity leave is not nearly as long enough as it needs to be for families to healthily incorporate a new child into their life. So for me, spending $30,000 on a one-day party is just simply too much, especially if you have to put it on credit or take out loans. That's just a no-no, right? So don't spend too much on your wedding. I know you have the butterflies. I know you're in love. It's a special moment. It's once in a lifetime, but save your money, be frugal. And I think a lot of people can have creative and cute and very special weddings for under 10K. Now, guys, if you're liking the video so far, as I said, just leave a like on the video for the YouTube algorithm. Also, just get in the comments, interact, and let me know what you think. So another financial mistake that people tend to make when they're in their 30s and they're starting out in life, you buy the house, you pay for the expensive wedding, and now you're starting to have kids and the budget is getting a little bit tight. So what do? You take out a HELOC on your home. You take out what little equity you have in your home to pay for expenses. And to me, that's a mistake. That proves that somewhere along the way, you either bought too much house, spent too much on a wedding, or something else that has put you into that financial position. You have to avoid that at all costs. Let me tell you why. When you continuously refinance and take out loans against your property, that defeats the purpose of being able to use it for generational wealth, because all you're doing is just keep re-upping with the bank. And the bank loves that. The bank will always do that every single day of the week because they're making money. But you're not. You're not getting ahead, because when push comes to shove, 10, 15 years down the line, you're trying to sell your home for some profit to put into a bigger home or to pay for something much more fruitful. You won't have any equity left. So you might sell the home, you might break even, or you might even lose money. So don't make that big financial mistake of taking out loans against your home. It's just making your loan and your mortgage longer and longer and worse for you, which means you're paying more interest. You're taking money out the home, but then you're also paying for repairs and upgrades. So the home is growing in value, but not for you, for the bank. Don't do that. When you get to 60 and retirement age and you're wanting to look at your assets and see where you stand in terms of a nest egg, you realize you have no equity in your home. You're probably behind on the mortgage. And even if you sold it, you're not going to be off any better. Pocket watchers, I don't want you to be in that position. So please just try to avoid that big financial mistake in your 30s. Speaking of 30-year-olds, when they get to 60 and not having any equity on any assets in their homes, a lot of 30-year-olds make a financial mistake by not having a plan for retirement. You see, retirement is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And usually around 30, you need to start considering what your life is going to look like at 60, 70, and 80. You need to start putting down financial roots. And a lot of people in their 30s know that we're still young, and it's usually the first time we're starting to make some significant jump in our income, and we tend to want to go out and spend that. But that's a mistake. When you have that significant jump in your income starting in your 30s, that's when you need to start focusing on retirement. And unfortunately, not enough of us start to focus on retirement early enough. That's a huge financial mistake that people in their 30s make. Because even if you just want to work a job and contribute to your 401k, go into the stock market, go into property, these things take time to come to fruition. It's going to take you 20, 25 years of investing to make millions. It's going to take your home 15 to 20 years to appreciate in value enough for you to sell it and get like a 150 or a 200K profit off of it. So you see, it's absolutely paramount that in your 30s is when you start planning for retirement, not when you're in the twilight of your career at 50 and 55 and you're like, okay, I got 15 years of working left. Let's hit the mark. Because what that does is it makes you desperate. And when you're desperate, you make stupid decisions, especially financially. And also at 50, 55, you don't have the energy to work the way you have the energy to work in your 30s. So in the 30s is when you need to start focusing on your retirement, putting things in place, get your knowledge up on stocks, bonds, investing, real estate, anything that you think can secure your financial future, you should start doing that in your 30s. That's a big financial mistake that a lot of people regret, especially when they get older. Do not do that. I don't want that for you, pocket watchers. The last example I'm going to give is very important, and I would love if you guys stuck around and watched that one because I think it's very pertinent and I see it happening with a lot of my friends. Me personally, I'm 30, so I'm right in this age group, and it applies to a lot of people that I know personally. But before that, another financial mistake that people tend to make in their 30s is co-signing for family members, friends, and just signing your name on things trying to help people. Because as I said, in your 30s is when you're going to start to make a little bit more money, your credit is going to be better, and then, people are going to come out the woodwork. They're going to see you doing well. They're going to be like, can you co-sign this for me? Can you help me out with this? Do not ever, ever co-sign anything with anyone for whatever reason. Unless you are legally married, do not ever co-sign for anything. A lot of people do that because they're like, okay, I went to college, I'm starting my career, I'm doing better now. My uncle from around the way, he helped me out when I was a little kid and he was always kind to me and he showed me my first this or my first that. So let me help him out by co-signing for a car. That's a big mistake. Do not do that in your 30s. It can ruin your credit, preventing you from buying a home or getting a good deal on your mortgage in terms of the interest rate. It can stop you or prevent you from getting certain jobs if your credit is in dire straits. It can stop you from getting into certain apartments. It can stop you from a lot of things, all because you wanted to be kind and help somebody by co-signing for them. Not even a girlfriend or a boyfriend, even if you're living together, even if you think things are serious, do not do it. Unless you are legally married to that person, never sign any document with another human being. Now, finally, the last thing I see a lot of people in their 30s making as a financial mistake is going to grad school for the wrong reason. Yes, I know education is key. I'm a big advocate of education because I always think we should always be striving to be better, striving to improve our knowledge, and overall just get more well rounded as an adult. But if you just go to grad school just to go to grad school and take out those student loans, it's going to be a big mistake. Student loans aren't bankruptable. Student loans are with you forever unless the government decides to do something about it, and we all know how reliable they are. So I see a lot of people, especially people that I know, they're going to grad school, taking out new loans. They feel like they needed to improve in their career. They feel like they needed to improve in terms of getting a pay rise and so on and so forth. But let me tell you something. A lot of the times it's not really worth it. You have to really do a cost benefit analysis. And also, there are ways to go to grad school for free, especially if you've been working with a company for a long time and you let them know, I want to stay, I want to be a part of the family, I want to move through the ranks and become bigger and better for this corporation. They will have tuition reimbursement programs. Take advantage of those. Any grants or scholarships that you can still get for grad school, try to take advantage of those. Don't just jump in without a solid plan that if I get this MBA, I'm going to get an increase in my salary. Sometimes you will get an increase and it may open you up to new opportunities, but a lot of times it's really not worth it. Is going to grad school for 30, 40K in extra student loans worth a 5% pay rise? I don't think it is. Is it worth a few extra perks here and there? It really isn't worth it. And a lot of times I know people will go just to say, oh, I have a master's or I have a PhD. Oh, doctor, this sounds good. Superficial metrics are useless and you should not try to pursue those, especially at the detriment of your financial future. So don't make that mistake in your 30s. Now guys, this is the end of the video. I appreciate y'all for watching. Leave a like on the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And then until next time, I will see you. Peace.